it's all to the good. But back to the show. Hey, Average Monk, how you doing? Trade spotting absolutely nails by on Friday, down for Cat Hole 400 first hour, well done. And my bank account thanks you. You're welcome. You're welcome, sir. Guitar outside, got myself a cheeky little UVXY position as well after trade spotted spy content on Friday. Nice one. Good work, sirs. Good work, sirs. GameStop 25, spot 27. Where's... We'll just type it in because the list is now too big. Spy 395. Yes, 4 hours. See that. Gap. Drop, not a gap. Here we are. There's a little bit of a gap there. Where's that? 400, right on it. Pretty good there. Pretty good call. And of course, VIX went a little bit. So we got a little bit UVXY. Bing bong, price wrong. Yo, JB. A little bit of a move up here. Just say a little bit. 6.4% in 1 day is not bad by anybody's standards. Pushing back towards previous level of potential support, the 1.13. If we look left, daily time frame here. It's only been down, and matches this trend. So other ways you could look at this, but that's certainly one of them. Bum, 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 bum. That's the one that's working for people. Anywho, so that's what we're thinking, yeah? So just, how it works is you give me a ticker, a time frame, an entry, a stop, and a target. So for example, ticker, GME, right? And then a time frame, well, let's say 4 hour time frame. And then we'll say entry, stop, target. Well, this looks to be rolling over, so if you were looking for an entry stop target, there's a period of volatility coming up here, by the way. Just happens to be just after earnings. Earnings, which we anticipate, they don't give guidance, and the earnings aren't structured in order to create some sense of momentum with the share price. It's not like they're, submitting their homework. Like a lot of companies treat their annual report and their earnings, as like a parent-teachers meeting with stockholders, but there's a slightly more mature and slightly older-fashioned attitude with regards to earnings. They're not interested in giving guidance for investment banks and like funds. They're not to do that with regards to long-term plans. So that's the idea. Anyway, it's coming up just so you can anticipate that they're not going to make this look good. The window dressing is how accountants call it. Shout out to the accountants, WikiWilks and co. Right, so you've got a fantastic audience and a fantastic company with you there. You've also got this volatility coming up. It's the last Fed meeting and CPI data print of the year. And it's close to the holidays. Hollybobs. Ooh, hollybobs. Lots of reasons to celebrate. Hello! Hit that like button yet? I think so. 200 period moving average is up at around 29 now, slipping below that $30 resistance. $30 resistance, open interest, you can see that's where we would have longs incentivized to close. Longs, the open interest, that would be these holding the contracts, trading options, because there isn't single stock futures on this. Highest put option open interest strike. So below that, incentivizing shorts to close for the same reasoning. Back to GameStop then, where there has been no insider trades since March. Right? Still same story. And this 200 period moving average slipping now below that level of resistance to the top side, having been rejected from it once. Price action put in a low, lower than this previous formation, left a gap back below that level of support. Price action will need to return there at some point. It's an inflection point at 23.30. Will it hold? Well, if we don't put in a higher high in advance of it, it would be a lower low following a lower high previously to there, a lower high. Downward sloping trend and continuation would be expected. Number of different ways of looking at your targets. We've got a downward sloping channel, which to save time and to present the information slightly differently for people who learn slightly differently. We have it with Fibonacci levels in that channel. Center line of it comes in at around 27, our most recent intraday high here. Also below the 50 simple period moving average. That's not wonderful. What's that vertical line trace point? This is CPI data print and the last Federal Reserve meeting before the end of the year. Coming in here in the last week in December before your hollybobs. 14th, 15th December. These sort of dates, right? 13th, 14th, 15th. So you can expect more volatility in around these dates. So, and this is how we would talk about it, right? The 4-hour time frame, we were looking at GME and we're talking about entry, stop, and potential targets with reasons for the trade. So, you know, if you were looking at this either side of that bullish or bearish case, it would obviously be the same support and resistance levels are relevant. A 200 period moving average up here presents the highest risk beyond there, and the lowest risk would be in at around 23.30, close that gap and a potential bounce. So the reasoning for a trade might be you're looking for an entry and you're determined to take this as you think that price action is going to break above the basis line within the overall channel, having found, you know, some resistance at it, bounced away, and then you're looking for it to find support and move back up above a 200 period moving average, and you think it's all very bullish, right? Like, fair enough. It would be running counter to the lower highs and lower lows that you've been experiencing, but we have had a double bottom formation here, price action, right? It's coming towards the end of the year, macroeconomic conditions, right? I don't need to justify a hypothetical trade for somebody. If you're bullish and you're looking at it to move to the top side, the best entry support and the best place for the minute is 23.30. If that doesn't hold, and it would probably be in some sort of a downward sloping trend line like this catches the low side of price action, then that'll be the previous low in at around 22. And if that doesn't hold, you're looking at the next horizontal level in at around $19, just below 20. Very important that works out. If it doesn't, you could easily come down, test the low side of this downward sloping channel in at around 15 now, right? And it was prior, like I was afraid of saying on the internet, 1650, because people just don't didn't like hearing it, you know, to get upset. And is it worth my time? Not really. So didn't like saying it, but there it is, right? It's now even lower, right? So that's that. But overall, that would be relevant to loads of different things, right? So what we're talking about there is if price action doesn't hold these levels of support, and I'm giving you as examples, right? Because this is all about profit doctoring, isn't it? I'm helping you out here, yo. So this is how it would work when you put your own suggestion-free Mr. Jan fax machine, but it's just like, come on over here, you don't be shy. See, look, stop being so shy. It's this, man. It's internet. That's not going to work. Thanks for your help on HD. Yo, Jackie. So, yeah, so it's great to see everybody so happy there. See, they're all really happy. Look at those heart pots. What are those hearts for? Hey, kitties and friends. Oh, look at those messages. Lovely messages. Best chap always ever. Right, so, well, that's Rocky Airdrops, actually. But then you guys borrow from there. Haha. Right, so, what? Right, right, yeah, so exactly. Back to this thing we were doing here. Profit doctoring, helping there. Yes, no waiting times or nothing, right? It's immediate service, fantastic. So that's your idea, is like if you're looking to go bullish 23.30, if that doesn't work, you know, the next level's below, but then it's a different trade, isn't it? I mean, what would be the top side on that? You'd be looking to test the 200 period moving average from that 23.30 up to there. You know, that's significant, yo, right? That's what, 30+% on price action. If you were looking at option contracts, then when would your expiry be? Well, 23.30, maybe you're looking at something a couple months out. That would be cool. You're looking at something at that particular time that's out of the money. It was a completely different risk profile on that kind of trade for options, but you know, that's another thing. So that's what you're looking at. Maybe you've actually got shares and you're thinking, well, I'm looking for a cover, so I'm bearish, right? So some sort of covered position or some sort of counter trade using option contracts to make sure you don't lose any of your investment in value of your investment, no matter what happens with price action, right? So you could have an option contract, you could, you know, be taking something short from in around those same levels at $30. That'd be the best one. If that doesn't happen, then it's on a break of 23.30 because it's moving down to the bottom, right? And that depending on in the money, out the money, and what expiry you're looking at. But with regards to the trade, you know, it's the same idea. Stop to the top side, you'd be looking at this. If you are looking at it on a break, then you get a really immediate stop very close to that same inflection point with the gap. And if it's to the top side, and that you're taking it as it breaks back down below the 200 or rejection from it, that gives you the tightest stop just on the other side of it, you know. So we should take it on a breakdown, and, you know, rather than as it first meets it. Yeah, I know, because that way it wasn't just going to go straight to your stop and knock you out of it straight away. So that would be the idea, would be the timing and the stop and whatnot. If it was the top side, bottom side, 23.30. If that doesn't hold, I'm looking at 22 and change, but it's very, very close, right? So maybe you're thinking 22 and you've got enough of this already, so you'll wait for 22, or you'll take it up on a break of 30 to the top side, in which case that also makes more sense. Maybe if you're looking to just limit risk and you're not exclusively looking to maximize profit, because you won't be selling it immediately. So those are the different strategies, you know? So, you know, and you've got a tight stop. So the risk is really limited. And then, you know, in terms of like the reward, this is 30% target there, right? So you can't make that work then. Whoa, you know. Right, so that's that. That's how what we think. And what are we thinking with regards to price action on this thing? Just as we've been looking at, you know, there's 200 period moving. As a 50 simple, you lose that, where the point of control is this particular point on the daily time frame ahead of what people will be well and truly used to this going through earnings. As you can see on the daily, that not so far away from these big macro news. So here, you know, move towards these support levels at that time, very possible. Inflection points in and around those times, also very possible, just as it happens, because we're here. You know, you get something in around this. Right, so you heard it here first. Let's say in 2 weeks, news today. Boom, right? Well, it's like actually 3 weeks or something. But anyway, that's the news. So it's good, isn't it? So what did we miss then? Nothing to see here. Nothing I see immediately there. Nothing immediately there in the chat box for those wonderful people there I see there. It's so very wonderful. What about this thing? Does this thing tell me, sugar, that's not up? Right, so that's what you might look to. You might also look at SPY then. 200 period moving average so far, it's been resistance on daily. It's also very, very close or approximate to your support level / resistance now at 405, 408. That thing I tried to open, and where is it if it did? Over there. Mirror! 4 minutes ago, GME on 20th of the 1st, 2023. Open interest is looking like a little strangle. A little strangle. Remember you mentioning a spillway valve at certain dates. Is this an example? Bunch of puts at 25 cents, but you calls it 237.50. GME 20th of the 1st, huh? Bam, 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 bam. What's the strike you were saying there? 25 cents, calls 23.70, 237.50. Where are you? One page, one data. Calls and puts. Near the money. God, what do you like? All the monies. Trade spot and you're speaking to, you weirdo. All the monies. Right. So where's your puts? 25 cents puts. You're not going to tell me them. Getting $5. I mean, that's pretty low. And here you are. Oh, this is a January 20th trace, but yeah, you're 25 cents. What's the volume? The volume's not that high. 25 open interest. Where's the volume here? No volume. What are you saying? 25 cents. There's no volume, yo. Open interest is still at 25. Here, did I just click that and it's ruined everything? No, I'm back. It has ruined everything. Can you guys even see this? Where are we here? Stop it, trade spot. In January 20th, 25 cents. There we have it. 21. I mean, I suppose, right, it's like slightly, it's like 51 here though, in it around 1965. Those levels we were, you know, as it happens, by the way, you know. So this is this one, and I can see why you'd be drawn here, but also like there's very little volume in around that particular on that these contracts recently. Open interest still there, outstanding. And then what were you saying in around? That was the other side of the trade. No, this was the call side. You were talking about the put side, weren't you? Just putting it. Can you just read one message properly? Where was it now? It wasn't on that thing. It was on this thing. Bunch of puts, 25 cents. 25 cents, bunch of puts. Yo, where you at? Delete none of them. Oh, frickin' clicked it again. No! Stop clicking things. So what was the interest on this thing like anyway previously? Psh. Well, I keep clicking things and it doesn't help. This is one of these websites where you're better off not clicking. So what was the question? Open interest. Either side of the trade. Well, yeah, I mean, yes. Like, but there's, you don't necessarily. I mean, in that particular instance, we weren't seeing anything matching off in terms of open interest. The expiries either side of it so very far away could easily be hedged positions and so on. And I would expect to see things that are like that far out of the money change as the dates approach. Especially, what's the date now? Yeah, so like that's a month away. No, 2 months away. That's 2 months away still. So like, yeah. Sure, that's not 12 weeks, but it's, it's definitely not 4 weeks, and it's not a week. So I expect to see that change a lot. Right, so am I even got the right thing up? This stupid thing's covering my face again. And what was before that? Thanks very much for that donation, Minner. That's appreciated, buddy. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Did I miss anything else there? Not that I can see. Minner, you're a legend. What do you like? Stop that, Minner. Doing it on your own all the time. You big jet yourself and Ace and that sort of thing. Stop that. Right, so, right, we covered everything there. Well, no, we didn't. We didn't do SPY yet. And truthful, get that thing out of my face. Right, so here it is SPY. 4 hour daily dally with the daily on SPY. Right, so RSI, if it doesn't break into the bullish control zone, it's very hard to feel bullish about it. If it doesn't break above a 200 period moving average, which if you take as a proxy for the trend, then you'd say that it's a downward sloping trend, and that doesn't sound very bullish, So, if it was perfume, it'd smell really bad. I'd say, ooh, I don't like that perfume. If it was a dress, you were in, like, I look nice. I'd say, nah, put on a different dress. So there's and that's the point of control, right? So you probably get dead angry. And that's like, but you asked for the truth, and there's 395, right? Hold 395, and you can do whatever you like. I don't care. And then go up above 408, woo. But that's not happening, is it, darling? Right, so, you're looking at this, and you're thinking, it's resistance, isn't it? It's sort of, what language you speak. It speaks resistance. So yeah, you want to be holding that support level there at 395, which you're at right now, and it doesn't look like you want to hold it for very long. But if you do, great. If you don't, it starts to break down. The next level is 391. That doesn't hold. You'll be looking to test these prior lows. 50 simple coming in now. It's got a bit of a positive slope on it, but you can't say that. So yeah, you're looking at 380, yo. 378, that's the zone. That breaks down. You've got this handy little thing written out, 366. I don't know why that's there at the minute. I think things have updated since then, so maybe that would be the 378, or maybe you have 378 written somewhere else. So that doesn't hold. You're looking down around here anyway, which is this prior low, actually, is where that should be, which should be in around 360, and then that doesn't hold, and we'll borrow that guy for this prior low, which is in around 348, 350. So these are the levels that price action will go to on SPY and completely and utterly die if it does, doesn't hold 395, right? It's 378, quite a big drop away. And, this is just the very start of the week. And there's nothing to say that it isn't going to pull back up towards the top side. The area to break then would be back up at 404, 405. Get back above that, open and close. Then you're open and closing back above 200 period moving out. You might as well then, at that stage, test 411, hit 10, 411 resistance. Might as well. This is... I'm not saying you're going to go up and fill this gap. It's always possible. It's just why do they no need for it right now? And so, let's leave it there, right? It's a nice thing to leave if you're going very, very far away down to have something to come back for, right? I would say so, right? Don't burn all your bridges and whatnot if you want to look at it like that. So what we're saying, this is daily time frame. Stochastics really, really, really high, right? So easily, did it push up again? Still not that massive a surprise if it does, but it's just not behaving very, very bullishly on its first encounter of this 200, or the second counter really either. I mean, in fact, right, that's twice. So how many chances are you going to give it before it at least comes back and finds somebody who wants to buy it again? Because that's like a warning sign. to anyone who's long. And if it then takes a big dump after 2 rejections, or especially 3, right? I.e., if it loses support without finding anything in its immediate support, having found 3 touches of resistance, at that stage you're like, it's not making the other side weaker. It's like, what use is conviction if it's not tested, right? This is the thing. Anyone can sit there and act like a teenager. No offense, teenagers, right? Big shout out to all the teenagers who need that enthusiasm drive. But, just saying stuff doesn't mean anything. And and this is a test. So we'll see how that happens, right? It's so far. Boom, 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 right? It's winning that test. Anyway, so we think that we're likely experiencing a little bit of resistance. And so that's leading to a reduction in the enthusiasm price action had for moving to the top side, or at least like any of the magnitude of these moves. And so that's, while not necessarily a large increase in the volatility, it does speak to a potential change in the trend, speaks to weakness in the momentum, and then those indicators that we use, which are tracking the volatility, like VIX and UVXY, then just derivative of it. So is that, but that's not what I meant. That's not the one I wanted either. Thank you. 8.63%. So this is taking futures contracts that are out of the money on SPY. That's what this is a measure of, right? So not anything else that people like to imagine it to be as a proxy for it. That's all well and good, but you have to forget. You can't forget. You have to remember. Never forget what it actually is. You already covered the request I had in my head. Thanks. Thank you, Cookie, sir. Legend, sir. Very appreciated, sir. Thank you much, sir. Cookie yourself as well, and then yourself, and then it's like day by day, week by week, carrying the can, isn't it? Right? So because that's grand responsibility. It's like that guy in James Bond. I was about to say James Bond, but of course he's in the movie. It's in Indiana Jones. He's Indiana Jones' dad. Yada yada. Long story short, so he steps out of time to make these amazing movies, like we do with Price Action. And then yes, chasing the pigeons. Ha ha ha. Indy. Anyway, you remember? So yes. There was a whole big reason for me saying that stuff there, which was fantastic at the time, but you're going to have to figure out for yourself. So, yeah, price action here, VIX 250 symbol, come and test 200. That sort of thing happens. These tests happens, doesn't it? These tests. So, price action never really strays that far away from them. They don't usually typically have that big a distance between them. The 50 simple 200 period on the daily time frame on VIX typically wouldn't be that much of a distance between them. You know why that is? Compared to other charts. Anyway, so we've been through the little tips about these things. Revealing the truth of price action. Soon we're going to reveal the truth of the world's economies. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to rock out across back. Look at this trend line here. Yeah. So that's relevant. Look at this previous trend line. That's relevant. Wow, but there's nothing that beats a horizontal level of support or resistance. Look at price action. Right, that one there. It trades by Drew. Just came out. Oh, and there's the next one. 16 as well, but there's 18 on the way. Anyway, there's a 1.1 free extension, 1777 or so. So that sort of level we're looking at. Is it because this chart is drunk? Yes, friends, where everybody knows your name, right? That's VIX. It likes to go where everybody knows its name. Dum. So it's mean reversion and asset. So that's what we're looking at with VIX. It's up 8.59%. Nice, considering nothing really went down, right? SPY did. Ha! Jokes. Anyway, right, this isn't Monty Python. This is Trace Point. What we're looking at here, that was everything. So, wow, eh? And then these, like, the Profit Doctrine's requests coming in, and I'm answering the questions ahead of the time. That's how far, eh? Well, I can't know how far can we go down that without actually being in the future. I suppose we are, because that's all relevant too, is it? Where are you watching this show from, right? Through, like, where's it being broadcasted from? So there is, like, already a disconnect, if on the, it's crazy. So Al Gapo at now 3850s. 3850s, that'll be the SPYs, won't it then? What else is trades at these? Really easy. Right, so yeah, 385. Where's the gap chart I have with SPY? This guy. Yes. I haven't got it marked in there, but golden pocket retracement drawings off, everybody. Drawings off. There's the gap. The start of it, 385. This little, I mean, this was the previous low candle. So in terms of like technical gap, you're looking at 373. 373. It's the terrible house. Spin this motherfucker. Oh, that was me. When did I say that? Wait a minute. Why is that coming up now? Extreme elements. I just said spin this motherfucker. Why is that happening? That happened the other show I was playing too. On the other show I was doing. Let's spin this motherfucker. That's a brilliant thing to say. Spin this motherfucker. Love it. I'm best. Shout out to me. I'm the best. So yeah, when I say messages in the chat box and I'm also live, it's because, you know, I have this amazing bot helping me, which is like also reading the futures. Incredible stuff. So this bearishly divergent. If price action does come back down, test this, right, and the cross doesn't, you know, work out to your favor, or doesn't even really happen, very possible with this gap below and whatnot, this being, that would immediately look like a breakdown. Support is at that 200 with this level here. So you break that 4-hour time frame, that level being 390 to 391 change. Then that gap looks like it's really nearly just like it's a hunt for the gap, right? Going straight to it, really. And then probably straight in it. And that's just probably, you know, and a lot of news could happen. News could happen. Things change constantly. That's the, that's like, you have to be aware of that, you know, and as a trader, it's different from some of the objectives that it might be. So we might have here for the channel, or you might have for your own like trading performance to increase over time. You know, you want to, like, everybody wants to be able to draw trends and like work them to their favor. It's like, it's a positive thing, but you know, well, you know, there is no certainty, right? You know, we just want certainty all the time. Human beings, I want to work this out, and so a lot of people rely on like inadequate workings just because it gives them some method of operation, and they're happy with that. It's like, even though they know they're wrong, some people like that, and they're happy with that because they also underlying that know that they're in search of certainty, and that itself isn't possible. So they're happy with like in it, you know, and they're like pigs rolling in muck in that, and that's a thing, right? They're never able to, like, you know, but can't we ask, like, you know, reach that little step further? You know, it's not that ambitious, just do that little bit further than anyone's gone before and achieve just that bit better. But people don't, and they're just like, oh, I want it to be like this, I want this to be the answer, I want this to be the way it works. And that's not the way it works. Shit changes all the time. You live in a continuum. There are no such thing as certainties, right? That's not this, right? So price action gets there, we'll look at where it's going next. That's what it is, yo. People get to idea that they understand, and if there's a lot of people who would be like the fringe of an audience watch along, think like, oh, I understand, and like, in the general conversation about some stocks goes like, oh yeah, just everyone thinks like this. It's like, what are you talking about? No, that's not it. Price always is about how it behaves at different levels. That's a dynamic thing. It changes all the time, and there are no certainties around like, you know. So what's going to happen? Like, well, what's a big event that Ukraine think Russia are going to start winning at some point? You know, because everyone thinks Ukraine are winning, but they aren't, right? Not like. So it could be a silly suggestion, right? Russia in their country, murdering them by the hundreds, and that, or otherwise, you know, you can look at it any way you want. But like, it's not, and people are like, oh, this is the way it's working. But that's not the way it's working. You know, it's just how you like to think about things, because you want to think about how you've got to make a mortgage payment, right? You know, and you do have to make a mortgage payment. Hurry up and make that mortgage payment, idiot. But also, you know, so like, it's like, not just televisions. Everything's changing all the time. My God. People talk about television like, my God. Still like plasma. So, you know, so that's what I say, right? You should be, it's like Concorde as well. It's like, you should be just having like Concordes flying around with plasma screens all over them all the time. That's what the world should have been. It could have been, but it was robbed off us. That and the jetpacks. Remember the jetpacks? That's what I say. Free to bet. That's what, anyway, yeah. 50 simple approaching the 204-hour time frame. You know, it doesn't look like price action wants to go too far away from that event. You know, it wants to like be, when it starts happening, it wants to be right at the front of the queue, doesn't it? Price action is like bullying its way to the front of the queue. So that's what's happening. Spin this mother. Whoop, a milestone to celebrate. Still grateful. 14 months, Sammy yo. Sammy yo. Whoop. Look, this is a blank, but we'll pull it off. And I'll put another one through, and there it is, one for the homies. What a show it was, too. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. Amazing. Mayor, thanks so much, sir. What? What a show it was. Right, and there are no certainties, ever. Shout out to Doomslayers. Everybody hit that like button. See you tomorrow. I think we're out of time. What time is it? Oh, we're 7 minutes overtime. Oh, we closed. What did we close at on all the interesting things? How much did disco do? Pardon me. Look at how that happens to be next to our, interesting. So that. And what else do I want to look at? Is it on this list? If we just make it. That's pretty obvious, isn't it? And then what was the close? Psst. That had a more of a positive reaction, but then had an initial drop to a support level. Did the artifact on the chart determine it? Also, they all have these little gaps back. But I say they all, but the ones I was looking at. Great, what a show it was too. Wow, right? Thanks. Thank you, Minner, very much. You're welcome, sir. Always. Oh, everybody. You're all very welcome.